Well, fellow Ugandans and friends all over the world, my name is Eddie Yawe from the Sentamuz family. And what has brought us here today, before I go further, this is the family of Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu, commonly known as Bobi Wine, most known in Buganda as Ombanda wa Kabaka, and many other names. We are here as a family for a common outcry. To us, to some of us, Bobi Wine is a brother. To others, is a child. To others that we are hiding away from here that we don't even want to know, is a father. And others is a husband. To others, which are out of this concept, is a friend, is a fan, and is a leader. There are a lot of things the world needs for today as far as Bobi Wine is concerned. But as a family, we have one thing to ask the government, is to give us Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu, broken as he is, shapeless as he is, helpless as he is, lifeless as he is, throw him somewhere and give us information that your family member is here, we shall take care of him. When he gets all right, then he will fight his war. I repeat this. Please, government, this is our second prayer. First and foremost, we are looking for him. Yesterday, I was able to interface face-to-face with my brother. I was able to see Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu by name, but not by the common figure that I always looked at him to be. Kyagulanyi is not dead. He's alive, but he can die. Kyagulanyi is shapeless. You can hardly identify him at a very, very abrupt kind of range when you just face him, if at all you knew him weeks ago. From my observation, he was beaten and they only missed killing him. I don't want to talk so much about my observation, but let me talk so much about what Kyagulanyi Robert told me, because now he's able to talk. In his slow speech, because he was fighting to get breath to talk to me when I visited him, he was able to tell me the story. And this is the story. After the last campaign, he was able to go to his hotel. After having spent some time at the hotel lobby, he went to his room to watch news. After a couple of minutes, he heard some sound which was like gun-like sound, and he rushed out to find out what was happening. But as he was walking down the stairs, he met a couple of his friends running up, and they told him immediately that someone was shot, but maybe it could be his driver, and maybe the one shot looks to be dead. He was confused. He was forcing his way down, and the colleagues were able to force him up. They locked him in his room, and immediately also he obeyed and locked himself in the room. Lots of things were happening outside the hotel. He was telling me that moment by moment you could hear lots of bangs, doors broken, The second thing to that, you could listen to someone crying, and the vehicle could be moving, and that was repeatedly. It was until the breakers approached his door. He was in a suit, and he thought that it was strong enough to fail these people to come inside. He sat on his bed. They started breaking. They broke until the extent that he saw that at least 80% of the door is a wreckage. He saw 15 to 17 soldiers entering his room. Everyone having a weapon on the back of him, plus hammers, sticks, batons, to mention but a few. He knelt down and he said, "I'm innocent of anything. Please don't harm me." They told him to put his hands up. He put his hands up. They came to him as scavengers. Every soldier in his room had a piece of his body. Kyagulanyi says from his memory that as one was breaking a toe, another one was breaking a finger, another one was holding his private parts, another one was pulling out the ear, another one was breaking the rib, up to the extent when he collapsed. Slowly, as was only hearing sounds on his body until when he lost it all. It was until the next day, it says, that he found himself into a container, handcuffed, legs and hands, chained all over, and you could see not only his uniform that was red, but his body was red, and that was blood. He asked the person who was next to him, the guard, that where have these guys brought me? The guard explained it was Alua airstrip. He asked the guard, "Am I dead?" The guard said to him, "You would not be talking, but you can die though." The guard was a little friendly, and Kyagulanyi explains that from the room no one beat him no more. The guard helped Kyagulanyi to go to pee, but what was coming out of his private parts was blood. The content was more blood than urine. He went for a long call. It was a mix of blood and what is supposed to come out from there. Blood was still flowing from his nose, ears, and every outlet of his body. From there, he was taken to some place where he received a couple of injections. Kyagulanyi says he cannot count the times he was injected, and he cannot know what was put in his body. Was it medicine, painkillers, chemicals? He said he cannot tell. He collapsed again. He could only find himself on a plane the second time, being brought to Gulu and back. Then the following day was driven to Gulu, and was able to notice that he was in a setting which was like a meeting. Honorable Segona was the counsel, and Honorable Salirwa. They were able to talk to him. They told him what happened while he was taken away, that the wife and the brother and the relatives are outside the barracks, but they cannot access him. It's only the lawyers. After some time, he felt like blacking out, but he remembers having talked to Honorable Segona and Honorable Salirwa. After some time, he was flown to Entebbe Airport. He was gaining more being conscious. From Entebbe, he was driven to Machindi. That is Kyagulanyi's story. As I wound up my story of observation, when I came close to him, and when the wife Bobi came close to him, we were not strong enough to stand. But he was leaning against the wall because they brought him in the room when two guys were lifting him up in a standing position. So since he was leaning against the wall, we thought maybe we didn't even think about that, but we broke down and we caused more harm. Because this side of his body is still red, and it feels like there are no bones here. And in my observation, I'm not a doctor, I think the ribs on this side are broken, and the organs on this side must be having lots of complications. There's still blood that is coming out of his nose and mouth. I checked his teeth are still stable. The eye on this side is opening up, but it's very red. But I observed it can still see. Kyagulanyi can still remember what happened. He cannot talk on the speed that he's used to talking, but he can speak and he can tell a story. Kyagulanyi has got a lot of problems in the head. We called the doctor that the military showed to us that he's taking care of him. We asked basic questions. Have you taken him for X-ray? He said no. Have you done any CT scans because he has got wounds on his head? He said no. We have given painkillers. I checked Kyagulanyi, he doesn't even have a basic cannula on his hand. According to his story, according to what I saw, however much Kyagulanyi is alive, Kyagulanyi could die any time. I repeat this. According to what Kyagulanyi told me, and according to my mature observation of life of Kyagulanyi, if he does not get immediate, well-facilitated attention, medical attention, Kyagulanyi might change geography. This is my outcry to President Museveni, that as a family of St. Amos, we have done nothing to harm you apart from contributing. I remember when I was young, my grandfather was killed because he was giving food to guerrillas around Bubule. As per my remembrance, my father was taken to prison in Kasajagirwa because our cows and the ranch was food for guerrillas in Gomba. I don't believe Kyagulanyi's intentions of standing for a higher position is a wrong thing. After all, we've not paid us for 30 years. We've struggled. We're a big family that has struggled, who does not benefit from the government. What President Museveni could do for us today is to give us our brother for treatment. We are not asking you to forgive him. Please don't. Give us Kyagulanyi to treat him so that you can deal with him when he's sober and when his health is up to date. We are crying out to Ugandans. We have tried going to church to ask for services to Lubaga, where he was married. They have told us it's political. The leaders in Lubaga, please, they are not political prayers. And you can never, someone can never apply for prayer and you limit. You have prayed for lots of musicians, and that is when they are dead. Why not when Kyagulanyi is still alive? Please. We need an immediate public service, a public prayer service where Kyagulanyi was married. Fellow musicians, Kyagulanyi has contributed a lot to you. I'm not seeing many of you now. But I may see you many when he's buried, when we are taking him to Gomba, wherever he's going to be buried. Your contribution is needed now. You may never bring contribution when he dies, but but Kyagulanyi needs you right now. I know you're sober, I know you needed him in your launches and so on and supports and so on. Politicians that want Kyagulanyi to go and accompany you so that you can go through that he has accompanied many. I'm not seeing you in Kyagulanyi's life right now. I'm so thankful to the people in the diaspora. Before even we asked you, you've done a lot of contributions in prayers, riots and so on. My very last prayer is to the international community. You've done something, but it's not practical. I remember when a president of America came to power, it gave us a time limit that dictatorship and acts of this, where my family is now a victim, will end after his 100 days. Mr. Trump, it's more than 100 days now. We need you. We need the UN. We need everybody. We need the European Union to intervene. Others, this might be my last speech as well. Thank you very much.